Alright, we're going to do a quick unboxing overview here of this Cvlife 1-10x28 BearSwift today, and then we'll take her down to the range and try her out. Comes with your cantilever mount there. This is a 34mm tube, so better light transition, more range of adjustment, and probably a larger eye box there as well. Got your flip up caps front and rear. Under the rear, this one's a little, let me get that off there. Alright, so there's your diopter fast focus eyepiece, so you can adjust the focus for your own personal eyesight. Detachable throw lever there. 1 to 10 power, like I said. Pretty smooth on the adjustment there. You got resettable turrets. They're marked for MOA increments. Lockable. And we got a, let me see here. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I did this earlier when I was messing it. So the outside ring, instead of the whole thing, what am I doing? There we go. It's because it's the outside ring here instead of I'm used to it being the whole thing coming up and down, and this one's just the outside ring. So just the outside ring is what locks it. And I am having to wiggle this a little bit at times. Sure, I don't want to go down. I give it a little wiggle. Oops, I didn't mean to turn it there. So common with the budget scopes. Sometimes you got to give them a little, I don't know, 1/4 mil wiggle there to get it to line up so you can get your locking ring to go down. There we go. And on this one, so anyways, locking the rings there. It's neat that they're on the outside instead of the whole thing, so no caps to unscrew or anything like that. You lock her down once you get her where you want it to be. And should it get bumped, you got your numbers there, but it, you know, you bump it while it's locked. Shouldn't lose zero or anything like that. And they're re-zeroable, so if while sighting it in, you got to go, I don't know, clear up here on this one and clear over here on this one. You'll take these off, and then you can spin the cap back around to where your zero lines up with your indicator without changing your point of impact, without it clicking. Then you'll tighten it back down, and then it'll be zeroed on zero for both the windage and the elevation, and that way you can make, if you know your dope, you can make adjustments with the scope if you don't want to use the BDC reticle to compensate for wind or drop compensation further out. So you have that option here with the re-zeroable turrets. Then we got illuminated reticles, so your battery will be under here, no doubt. Different brightness settings. It's red and green. I'm going to get some screenshots for you guys of the reticle. Illuminated both collars, so we'll check that out. Trying to think if there's anything else here for the tabletop. We'll see what else is in here real quick. I was looking, looks like I tear this one open. Usually it's a little Ziploc bag or what have you. And there's our mount there. I always like it when they have, there's usually about a 12mm. You can put a socket on it, or you can use a flathead screwdriver, it looks like there, but I always like putting the sockets on it. But there is your cantilever mount there. Rest of what's in the box. There's your batteries there for the illumination. They give you 2. Silica pack, you know, for moisture in the box. Tool there. And you get your cameo cloth screen wipe there. And there's the instructions. Always nice big call instructions there, and there's some of the stats details of it there if you want to pause and read that. Also in the instructions, nice little overview of the reticle. You'll zero for 100 or 200 yards. They're kind of going over that here. Your trajectory with 5.56 is pretty close whether it's zeroed for 100 or 200 yards. So that center dot, you can do probably either, but read the instructions here to be sure. Probably a 200 yard zero. Then these will be for 300, and that's your 400 mark. That's your 500, 600, and each dot is for 5 mile an hour wind compensation. So where you have 3 for these further ranges, it'll be 5 miles an hour wind, 10 mile an hour crosswind, 15 mile an hour crosswind. So you got hold marks for the wind, and then your drop compensating levels there for 3, 4, 5, and 600 yards, calibrated for 5.56 or 308, because 308 usually has about the same trajectory as 5.56. And this is interesting here that they are saying with a 77 grain bullet, because all the previous ones I've tested from them, they never really said in the instructions, but I asked them about it before, and sometimes it might have said in the instruction 55, 62 grain bullets, you know, the cheap stuff that most people shoot. So it's interesting that this one's saying 77 grain. So now I will say, if you're shooting long range, a lot of people will be using those 75 to 77 grain bullets in 5.56. It's a lot better for the long range shots. So this should still probably work decent for 55 and 62 grain bullets. You know, it'll be close. But they're saying here you're going to want to use a 77 grainer there. And I'm sure the 75 grain version would be real close as well, obviously. And that's what this thing's calibrated for. So that's neat. I've never seen one of these, you know, AR 5.56 BDC LPVO scopes like this calibrated for a heavier load. So that's pretty cool. So this guy is set up for long range. And kind of a giveaway of that too is that it's a first focal plane reticle. So that's usually more for precision type shooting. So basically what that means, first focal plane, is you'll start out with a small reticle, and then when you zoom in, it increases in size and gets larger as you zoom in proportionally. You also have the little rangefinder set up here, and that kind of shows you how it works there, depending on how your marks line up on a silhouette, or you know, if you're actually in battle on a similar target, you can use these up here, which it'll look bigger once you're zoomed in, to use against something like that to be able to estimate the range. Here it goes over that first focal plane reticle. This is kind of what I was talking about. So it'll start out real tiny on 1x, which will give you a nice little dot there in the center with this reticle. You can just use that as a reference point if you're close range. That's where your bullet's going to go. And you zoom her in, and then you're going to be able to see all that, which you should be able to see more of that actually looking through the scope than what you're seeing on the paper here. Again, I'll demonstrate that. Stay tuned for through the tube screenshots best that I can do, and I'll show the illumination as well, as I said. Alright, but there she is in the cantilever mount. I don't have it tightened down or anything yet, but to give you a quick look. So we'll head down to the rifle range now, get this thing mounted up, get her zeroed in, and take some shots with it. Alright, then we're down here at the rifle range, ready to get started. There she is, all mounted up. My AR is a little dirty, I'm needing to clean her off there. No issues with the tooling or the hardware or anything. If I could get a frickin' focus. Anyways, nice and sharp still, didn't have any problem with like any of the edges rounding or anything like that. She torqued up nice. So we're ready to go. I'll probably take a few off camera, we'll get her close, finish sighting it in on camera, do some groups, and then we'll reach out to my gong out there, 400 yards, and test out those BDC holdover marks. All right, well, with that, I think we're ready to go here on the target down at 100. It seemed a little low left, so I'm going to get a few more clicks, and then we'll start out going center mass here. I'm just using 55 grain PMC 223 bronze, which is not its favorite. So, and I'm on my last few rounds of that, so then we're going to have to switch to the X-Tac green tips 62 grain. Again, not this rifle's favorite ammo, but it'll get us close enough for what we need to do today. So anyways, going center mass here. All right, I was just going kind of quick there because I knew it wasn't zeroed yet. I was actually aiming dead center, so we're a little off to the left there, but the height looks right. So I got to bring it to the right. We're doing our ammo switch now too, but now I'll try to make a little bit better shots after a few adjustments to the right because it's hanging off to the left there. Top dot. All right, that's pretty good. We got 3 right on that little dot there, and then 2 off to the left, which I think that's me pulling them left, because I noticed after the rifle would settle after the shot, or kind of like immediately after, my dot was a little off to the left there, and that's where the shots went. So I think that's just me. Go ahead and do one more group there on that bottom dot. Yeah, that last one at least was me. I'm putting a little bit of torque on the rifle the way I'm holding it. It's sometimes causing me to pull left, but not too bad though for cheap as it comes ammo and not having a rear bag. And like I said, I was messing up those shots a little bit, so it actually shoots those pretty decent. So we should be ready to reach out 400 now. Now it does say here, you can see 0 at 200 yards, so we need a 200 yard 0. Currently 0 for 100, so I'm going to give it 4 clicks up, which should move it about 2 inches high at 100, which should put it about on at 200 for us there. That way I can more accurately use those BDC marks for that 400 yard shot. However, recall earlier in the video we went over, they are saying, where was that? 77 grain bullet is what they have this calibrated for. So again, this is, especially with it being a 10 power, it's more of a long range setup LPVO. So they're suggesting the use of 77 grain, to which I also said 75 would be extremely close. So the fact that we're shooting the 62 grain, it's not going to quite line up 100% because they're saying to use 77s, which when you're shooting 223, 5.56, you do want to use that 75 to 77 grain stuff for the best performance at long range. I have no problem shooting 55 and 62 grain ammo out here 400 and 500 yards. I do it all the time. It's just that the BDC marks are calibrated, according to them, for 77 grain ammunition between those velocities. So as you can see there, they're giving you a little variance on the velocity. So it's going to be pretty close. So using the 62 grain out here, it should still be fairly close. I guess we'll see how close, because I'm going to give it 4 clicks up like I said. Should put us 2 inches high at 100, which puts us dead on at 200 like you're supposed to be for this. And we'll see where the 400 yard mark gets us with 62 grain ammo. Should be close. All right, I probably voiced over in the video, but I couldn't tell if I was missing any off to the left or not. We were obviously averaging left. I was aiming dead center, so it seems like we were averaging left after all. I don't think I was pulling all those left, so it must have just been the group with a rifle. I probably pulled a few. Anyways, instead of aiming dead center, because I thought I might have missed one or two, I just brought it over a little here just in case. So that's probably where these center shots were coming from there. But considering that, I mean, if I hadn't came to the left to compensate for, or came to the right, excuse me, to compensate for averaging left, those would have all been in a fist-sized group down there. 400 yards, you can't complain about that. All right, so this is my best attempt at showing you guys what it looks like through the scope. It always looks much better in person than what I can capture through the camera. Much more clear, much more crisp. I mean, this thing has really good glass. Everything was clear and crisp for me, no matter whether I was, you know, shooting up close or clear out there at 400 or 500 yards. It was nice and clear for me. It just always looks way worse through the camera. And speaking of that, it also, the eye box is much bigger than what you see here. The camera like focuses on internal parts of the scope that you never see while you're looking through it. So the eye box in reality is actually about out to here. This was what I was seeing when I was looking through it. So again, it's just a camera playing a trick, you know, so the eye box is much larger out to here, like I said. And usually I get these images for you guys down at the range to show you the target I was shooting at and all that, so you can see what it actually looked like on the exact targets we were shooting, but I forgot to do that this day. So just looking out in the field here behind the house, this tree here that I'm pointing at is about 100 yards away, so that's on the minimum magnification of 1x. And then again, this is going to look horrible through the camera. It's the best I can achieve. This is with the red illumination, and as you can see there, it's full sun. And while dim, I could actually still see it much easier than what you can see here. Like, it's practically impossible to see here through the images of the camera, but I could actually faintly see it. Now, if you zoomed in on it, remember this is a first focal plane. If you zoomed in on it, then you could see it no problem because it would get larger. But that's what it looks like on 1x with the red. And then here, you can see the green. It actually shows up a little bit better, but it still looks better and brighter in person. Okay, then here's with the illumination shut back off. Again, keep in mind that illumination is for low light conditions, so a lot of people like to see if they're daytime bright or not, which this one is, absolutely. It's just hard to see with it real small, so this one's pretty nice and bright, but the main point of that is for low light shooting conditions, so it doesn't really matter if you can see it broad daylight or not. But anyways, same tree all the way up on 10x. As you can see, it puts you right in that tree, so great magnification there up on 10x at 100 yards, brings you much closer. Then here's with it illuminated green, and then here's with it illuminated red, as you can see there. And again, brighter, much more clear and crisp in person, and the eye box is larger, but you can see that no problem zoomed in, and it looks even better in person. So overall, pretty happy with the scope. You know, it's got a great eye relief. All the controls work smooth. Like I said, the hardware was nice, the tooling, everything torqued up like it's supposed to. Glass is nice and clear, no matter 1x or 10x. 10x is true to magnification, 1x is true to magnification, as you guys saw there. 10x is getting me real close to the target, so no doubt that she's a true 10x there. Daytime bright illumination, like I said, and as long as it's not on, you know, 1x to where everything's super tiny because it's a first focal plane, it is definitely daytime bright, even in that broad daylight, bright sunlight like that against those trees there. As you guys saw, once I zoomed in, you can see it no problem. So I could see it just fine, like I said, on 1x. I mean, it was really small and kind of faint, but if you zoomed in a little bit, you could see it pretty easily. And on that, I actually think I prefer a little bit overall. It depends on the application. Earlier, well, not this year, I guess now, but last year, I tested their BearSwift 1-10, but it was a second focal plane, which I think in general, it depends on the type of shooting I'm doing, but in general, I prefer a second focal plane for an LPVO scope like this. That way the reticle's the same size if I'm on 1x, so, you know, if I got to use it close quarters combat or something like that, I'm picking up that reticle no problem because it's full size on 1x. So if you think you would prefer a second focal plane, I will put a link in the description to the review video of that 1-10 BearSwift that had the
second focal plane, which I absolutely loved. But this one has, with the first focal plane reticle in this, it is better for precision shooting at longer ranges, like down there 300, 400, 500 yards, like I always do anyways, whether it's a first focal plane or a second focal plane, doesn't matter. But this one definitely has a better reticle for longer range, more precision type shooting. So if you're going to be taking a decent amount of long range shots with your LPVO, this first focal plane version here that we tested today definitely got a better reticle for that. But if you think you would prefer the second focal plane reticle, again, I'll link the review video to that one in the description. And I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and link both scopes, the actual product pages for each, to take you directly to either one of those as well, whether you want to see the review video or not for the other one. But yeah, I'm extremely happy with this one, just like I was the second focal plane version. Like I said, the glass is really good, true to magnification. This one's even better for shooting longer range out there like that, especially if I needed to make any wind corrections, which luckily today it was very calm on the wind, so I did not have to worry about that. I mean, yeah, I have no complaints. Their scopes have always been great for me. They always hold zero. Never had a single one break. And I've tested over a dozen of their scopes by now, so it's hard to go wrong with one of these. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Again, links in the description. Thanks for stopping by and checking this one out today. I really appreciate it. For Pew products I cannot link to on YouTube, be sure to check out my campsite page, which is also linked in the description. But again, thanks for stopping by, checking this one out today. I really appreciate it. Hope to catch you on the next one. And if you want to see other scope reviews, check out the parts, accessories, and optics playlist on the channel.